Welcome to the BadaBing Show. I'm Jack Bingham, joined by my great friend Ben Ward, future groomsman in the wedding this summer, Ben.
Man, we have the upgraded summer of 2016 incoming.
Yeah, next level, dude. 7 years, we're doing a rerun. It's like an N1 mixtape tour or something.
Can I be hot sauce?
Fun fact: Skipped my Lou actually went to the NBA.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Where did he go? Where did he go? No, I knew that. Where did he go to college?
Okay. Ooh, I don't know. I know he played for the Magic.
Here's Alston for two.
I forget where he went to school too. He was a stud. Rafer Alston.
Yeah, Rafer Alston. What a baitless hook you just threw out there though with the college and then just. We were chatting this week, and you dropped a phrase on me that was kind of pertinent: adapt or die. Kind of interesting, applicable to a couple of sports as we talked about. It was almost like serendipitous the way the article dropped, and then you mentioned that the article being a golf article from Golf Digest, written by Dave Shidlowski, written pretty much about the kind of indictment of these new designated tournaments and lack of cuts that they've changed the tour to include these new regulations for these events. And a guy like Ryan Armour, who, if you didn't know he played golf, newsflash, a lot of people probably didn't, but there's some criticism from guys who are kind of like behind that top 100, behind that top 70, kind of that top 80. I'm curious, you read the article. You want to kind of give us a rundown of what you took away from it, what it was kind of talking about, and what you thought?
Yeah, I mean, treading carefully, like in some ways, because I don't want to offend anyone, like, or come off in any sort of like anti-player way, right? Is Ryan Armour's a good golfer, right? He makes his living on the PGA Tour. He could absolutely rinse either one of us without breaking a sweat.
I mean, let's be honest. If you have your tour card, you're like in the top 1% of the top 1%.
You're a swinger. You're an absolute swinger. But part of it is like I don't understand the gripe when it's not something that's taking money out of his pockets, because that's not in the position that either of us are in, I don't think, with some of the takeaway. And I think a lot of his commentary was in some ways like giving credence to, hey, you see this and this is X leading Y, being the creation of something like Live, an alternative way. And he's saying, here's why guys are going to live. So yeah, kind of a little carnival sideshow, Live Golf. If I want to see how golf is played on the munis, I'll just give you a call and head up the road, and we could duff it around for 4 hours, wear our shorts and bump our music and smoke cigars and whatever.
Perfect. Sounds like
it does sound like a good Saturday, but to me, that's kind of missing the mark on like what he's suggesting the PGA do, where I'm not sure there's a ton of merit in where his complaint is founded. Like, he's going to get criticized if he goes to Live because of where the money in Live is coming from. And that's like what's essentially sports wash, dirty Saudi money that I think most people with principles or long-term interest in a PGA career, any of the merits that come with that, where they sort of head to. So in my mind, I don't understand where it's coming from, because golf is the ultimate meritocracy on a 1v1 scale, which is, can I, with my own abilities, my caddy, my bag, whatever, beat you? You have all the control in your power to earn the sponsorships, earn exemptions, win tournaments, and go from there, while also still making a really dope living. So
yeah, you're the CEO all the way down to the actual individual player.
CEO of your own Golf Incorporated. Yeah, 100%.
Exactly. So he's referencing how like the lower half of the PGA Tour card holders do not get to participate in these no-cut top 70 to 80 player designated events that also happen to have some of the largest purses. However, if you are someone who's like Scotty Scheffler, who people don't realize before last year had 0 PGA Tour wins, the opportunities the PGA Tour gives you are to play your way into the top 70, let alone you end up being the top 5 or top 10. The Players Championship, which is being played as we speak, has the largest purse ever at $25 million, with the winner getting 4.5 of that. And if you win that tournament, you get a 10-year exemption. That has 144 players in it. The tour is set up in a way so guys like Ryan Armour don't have to complain. And I think that it's crazy to be like, of course you're the mule if you want to be just the top, 120 and not go any higher. Like, then you're signing up for that. But if you would like to improve, then all you have to do is win. So there's no grounds to complain about it in my mind.
One, I think there's a little bit of a false equivalency happening. But two, I think where it loses me is like, yeah, you do have guys like Scheffler, who you mentioned, has played his way into this prestige role. But there's also the Rory McIlroy, Jon Rahm, Xander Schauffele, Patrick Cantlay, like the laundry list of JT, Jordan Spieth, guys who have won, contended in majors, and are just staples on the leaderboard every Sunday at sometimes the non-prestige events, that are still superstars by any stretch of the imagination in the golf world. Again, on the merits of their own bag, their own backswing, and the equipment that they carry. So, I'm never going to come at it from a standpoint of I think that Ryan Armour is wrong, because I don't think that. But I wonder why he's slighted, because essentially he's not being stripped of his ability to get out and play these tournaments. And in the ones that he does, it's a very simple thing to play in more, to win more money, to get more sponsorships and more exemptions, and it's shoot low. If we need a baked-in segue, a favorite coach of mine, Bill Self, had a saying that carried KU to the national title last year, my Kansas Jayhawks, of course, which was, don't worry about the mules, just load the wagon. And if for whatever reason Ryan Armour is listening, hearing us, whatever, love you, much respect. I'll be left off the trees, put me down for bogey. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude, I did. Good shout out. Put me down for bogey. Click that link on putmedownforbogey.com. The Bill Self quote takes us right into March Madness. College basketball, great time of year. Hopefully your Kansas Jayhawks carrying a 1 seed, it looks like, into the tournament. So Bill Self doing his job, which at this point in the NCAA as a coach, your job is to adapt or die, right? Reference back to kind of our overarching quip for the show. And to those that don't quite get it, the reference here is mainly in recruiting and maintaining a team in the year 2021-2 and beyond, because of the introduction of NIL and just kind of what the transfer portal and NIL money has done to the landscape of college sports as a whole. And having to adapt to that as a coach is a major thing, especially when you're a guy like Bill Self or, Jim Larinaga, guys who are more tenured, someone we mentioned before, Mick Cronin, shout out Bugs and the UCLA Bruins. It's these coaches have adapted and maintained their success across programs. And then there are other ones that haven't. And we've kind of seen in recent weeks the parting of ways of Syracuse and Jim Boeheim. Part of me wonders if that wasn't like escapist, right? It's like, it's time. I can't really deal or hang, and happy to be gone. Like, sure, he's happy to be retired, but he might just be happy to be out of the landscape of college recruiting, don't you think?
I think there's probably something to that. I mean, in a lot of ways too, Jim Boeheim, I think we can all kind of laugh at his expense in a lot of ways for the last few years have gone. I mean, he's kind of, he went out kind of sad, right? He's been kind of a grumpy old man. He's the curmudgeon of college basketball.
We lost 5 games to people that brought in 3 to 4 players, veteran players. We went 0-5 against those people. And without the transfer portal, I think, we beat these teams. But that's reality today. And you have to, looking forward, you have to see who's coming back, and then you have to be in the transfer portal to be successful.
That's not how we talk about the things anymore. And I don't know that it ever should have been the way that we talked about it. Again, I think that there's a lot of murky logic that happened in the payment of players, families, the breakdown of the impetus for these, let's just call them athletes, to come to your school, be representatives and functionally unpaid employees for the longest time of your university. And so I think there was a lot of like just kind of sourness to his game when it came to that. And I don't know if it was just a matter of him not liking it. I had mentioned to you that I was listening to this great interview with Tom Izzo on the Dan Le Batard show. Shout out Dan and Stu. But he was very sort of open about how he has had to adapt. And he basically intimated that if it comes a point in time where he doesn't want to show up to work and show up to the office, isn't happy about how things are done and how he does things, he'll walk away. He kind of gave voice to Jay Wright stepping down, saying kind of mission accomplished, and this is not how I'm going to go about coaching, doing my business, whatever. I think there's just two ways to it. Jim Larrañaga's given a lot of great interviews on the same subject, the subject of NIL. I mean, Isaiah Wong had to take a big restructured deal to stay at Miami. I think it's just a matter of how we look at it and how we talk about it. And I think the more that we're just going to be willing to say that this is how it is, it's probably how it always should be, but this is how it is. And again, kind of adapt or die in the way of dinosaurs in the sense that there's nothing that precludes you, Boeheim, Syracuse, Kansas, Duke, whatever, from being good just because of the name on the front or the name on the court or the legacy and whatever else. If kids are getting paid, getting money to go to schools, you have to be competitive in those environments, but you also have to be a damn good coach. And I think all these guys that we've referenced really are. And I think, you look at the guys who get it done and the guys who will continue to get it done, specifically to the men's game. And that's what you've seen is the willingness to adapt. And if we want to call it cheating, bending the rules, whatever in the past, I think it's all just framing at that point because there's always been money changing hands. And now it's just the front door instead of the back door.
It's like, dude, no one's playing by different rules. You know what I mean? So whether that means you have to change your recruiting or you have to change your coaching, you have to adapt. And I think to your point, the great coaches out there, whether it be through recruiting or through just general performance on the court that they get out of their players, that's who rises to the top. And that's who always has risen to the top.
Once upon a time, there wasn't a 3-point line either. So, in regards to adaptation and evolution, you can either be the old man yelling at clouds or go buy a kite. You know what I mean? Like,
who's laughing now? Shut up.